What is up, guys? Zan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel. So you're here because the single back wing slot drives you absolutely insane. If you haven't come across this offense, it is one of the most spammy offenses that you guys will face out there in the head-to-head online community. The reason it's so good is because RPOs are good, and a lot of players are really struggling to stop not only the bubble screen, but the stretch RPO, especially with there being two tight ends on the run side of the formation. So in today's video, I'm going to show you not only how to stop the bubble screen out of this, but the easiest gap shoot that you could possibly run to counter this particular run. And the best part is you don't have to run match, although I would recommend it. Here is what players are going to do. They're going to use the Philadelphia Eagles offensive playbook. And the reason that they want to is that they want to run the bunch offset, which is a formation where the tight end actually is allowed to block if they feel like they're getting blitzed. You also factor in that's got a number of meta offensive plays, such as double post, also such as PA read and verticals. Everybody loves that play. But what they're going to do is they're going to go and they're going to sub in an extra tight end at the point position in their bunch, which is going to effectively change their personnel from 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, to 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, and 1 running back. This is going to allow them to get out of this formation when they feel uncomfortable and wish to run by being able to audible down. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So let's say that in this situation, we're looking at 3rd down and short. Our opponent wants to pick up a cheap 1st down. They're going to audible into the wing slot, stretch alert bubble, and they're going to be able to take off to the outside on this. This is also troublesome because a lot of times when you're on auto flip, you'll see that the nickel corner isn't going to travel to the other side, which now all of a sudden you have to kind of make some changes to your play to have a chance at stopping this. So what I'm going to share with you guys today is a way that I love to counteract this particular offense. Now, I'm going to skip the semantics of audibling from bunch to the wing slot, but let's go ahead and come straight out in the plays that most players are wanting to spam, which is the stretch alert bubble. With this particular defense, we're going to be choosing the big nickel over G. I think it's time that we have a serious discussion that you guys need to choose a playbook that has this formation in it. There are plenty of defensive playbooks in the game, and even if you don't want this to be your primary defensive formation, this offensive meta is so popular, especially the wing slot, that you guys are going to want something that you know you can go to in the event that you need a stop, especially if your opponent is trying to milk the game out. Now for our coach settings, we're going to go ahead and choose match on. You guys can choose to turn this off if you want. It's up to you. But what we're going to do is make sure that we are also base aligned and auto flip on. In the event that they come out in this, you'll have your nickel corner at least aligned to the correct side. If they're audibling from bunch to the single back, you'll want to flip with them just to make sure that you have somebody that can stand over the slot receiver. We don't want to leave an easy throw to the outside on the bubble. That's half the battle. Now, when we're facing the stretch alert bubble, what you're going to note is that we're going to have this player that is lined up over the slot. If you want to, you can either man him up, or you could go ahead with this play and shade the coverage down. This is going to allow him to at least be in a spot where he can kind of affect this throw. A lot of players will simply gloss off of this read because it is 2-on-2 to the twin side, but there are a number of very stubborn players that will throw this regardless. Now, this is where I want to introduce a very special rule about quarters, one that I actually teach over on my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. Within quarters, if you press the outside player, or if you just want to universally press, what this does is it creates what is called MEG. It stands for man everywhere he goes. This assignment is essentially man-to-man on DK Metcalf. So what this is going to do is it's going to make him stay involved on this play no matter what. Now, again, if you want to shade down, feel free to shade down. What happens with this is that if the stretch RPO pulls Derwin James inside towards the stretch and it opens up the bubble, you will still have a player that can react to the throw to the outside. And you see right there that even with this, we got a little bit lucky and we were able to hit the quarterback on the throw, but we had both players playing the bubble screen effectively. You'll note that our hard flat is there to potentially get an interception if they throw this, because he is definitely not going to end up being blocked. You see that the Meg rule here gets a jam on our blocker, which frees up our slot corner. This is absolutely huge for the purpose of defending this. So quarters pressed is a very good read. So pressed quarters is a very good adjustment to this particular call, simply because it invites the Meg rules. And this is going to make sure that our outside corner doesn't drop. And if they go to spam this, you see that we cannot block that slot corner. So again, it doesn't matter whether he's in a purple, a hard flat, manned up. If you want to zone drop it to 0 to make sure he's standing right at the line of scrimmage, feel free. The trick is calling quarters and activating the Meg rules. Now, base aligning, like I mentioned, I like to do it because it disguises all my coverages. If I audible from quarters into cover 2, nobody moves. That's the reason I like to base align. But if you guys want to come out in straight non-base aligned Meg rules quarters with standard alignments, this is a great way to neutralize the bubble screen completely. In fact, this will apply to any 2 receiver bubble screen. If we go to throw this, you see here, look at how active that is. At least in that situation where it works, you kind of notice that, you know, we saw a safety that was able to rally down and limit the damage on that. If you guys want to stay base aligned, the cool thing about it is that base aligned leverage, that outside corner, is basically lined up in a way that's going to prevent that bubble from really getting out there. You see how he's able to rally, and you know, this is a tackle for a loss nearly every single time. So pretty minimal effort, but I wanted to explain exactly how we shut down that bubble screen, get hits on that player pretty routinely. Now for the hard part, which is the running portion of this tip. We're going to basically come out in this play, or any play. Once you shut down the bubble screen, your opponent's going to shy away. This is going to open up a lot of options for you in terms of what coverage you want to call. But what we're going to do is I'm going to stick with quarters here, and we're going to worry about the right of screen, or the tight end side linebacker here. This is going to be your gap shooter. Now with gap shoots, this is very important that you guys focus on a couple of things. I've got some theories that I want to run by you here. I am a firm believer that if you hold the turbo button, your linebacker is a lot more sluggish. Like, you can't really maneuver in the gaps. You can't hit them cleanly. I am a big fan this year of not touching the turbo button with my user unless I absolutely have to. I'm in a straight line race with somebody in coverage, or I'm just running sideline to sideline and trying to cut somebody off. When it comes to the little movements, don't touch the turbo button. So we're base aligned, we're pressed in this coverage. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Base align press. I'm going to pinch my D line, and I'm going to user the tight end side linebacker. And this looks really inviting to the offense. There's no nickel corner on the outside to set the edge. The guy all the way out here, kind of a non-factor, really looks like it's inviting the stretch. Now, this is the cool part. When the ball is snapped, we are not aiming inside. We are not shooting the B gap. What we are actually doing is scraping and coming down to a spot where Kyle Pitts is lined up, the inside tight end. Take a look at this. We're gonna go ahead here, snap this ball. Look how this angle opens up and allows us to make this hit in the backfield. The cool thing about this too is that 99% of players that run this want to get all the way out to roughly the numbers and juke back inside. Notice how we're tracking the inside hip of this player. I don't need the corner on the outside setting the edge. In fact, I want both those tight ends just running downfield to block those guys because I'm making this play. Most players are going to put a jukebox on their player, and they're going to only really know to juke inside. So if you guys play the inside hip, they're going to juke right into you. You can start to lay some strips. You guys can go ahead and hit some hit sticks on them if they're really spamming it. Otherwise, just track that inside hip and you're going to be just fine. It's a really easy gap shoot. Now, here's the part where I said it really doesn't matter what coverage you call. Note that when I show the run fits in this particular play, that the outside corners aren't involved. Let's say for whatever reason, you're really struggling with them still getting outside and you need a little bit of extra support. Let's go ahead and go into the cover 2. And again, we're just gonna base align and press. We're gonna pinch our line, crash down. If I pull up the run fits here for this, notice that we have this outside defender. He is our force defender. Essentially what this says is nobody gets outside of you. When the ball's snapped, he's going to be more active in flying down to kind of hold that extra, edge a little bit for you and make Shannon Sharp kind of stop in between the hash marks and the numbers. He's not going to be able to block him downfield. In terms of how we're gap shooting, again, we're still aiming around Von Miller. We're basically aiming at where the first tight end is standing pre-snap. Ball snapped, we fly down. You see right there, even if they block us, you see how we have an outside player that's rallying down. So the dynamic of this changes a little bit. So if you really want to squeeze that down more, you actually would go ahead and unbase align and walk that guy down even more, because he's really going to get active here, and that should open up your gap just a little bit more. So we snap this ball, look at how it goes right back to where we were, and we're now getting a stop on this play. So this stretch RPO bubble, we know how to completely shut down the throw quick to the flat. It's getting no more than 2 or 3 yards. We now understand how to gap shoot the most popular run and prevent the jukebox animations back to the inside, because they're not juking inside when we're already on their inside hip as soon as they get the handoff. We're in a really good shape with this. And it doesn't matter what coverage you want to call. As I mentioned, let's go ahead and go into cover 3. Let's just go ahead and unbaseline press, pinch, crash down. Now we have this guy. He's the one that's in the force roll. He's going to basically loop outside and kind of play in that area that we just expected Revis to. Except for now, we've got an extra player down over the tight end. Our job doesn't change. We're looping around to where Kyle Pitts is. So again, this ball snapped. Here we go. We're looping down. Bang. Make that hit stick. Don't suck like me right there. You're going to be getting that hit in the backfield pretty consistently with this. From there, guys, I would say 90% of players that like to go into this offense are going to crumble. They're going to basically drop back, throw a couple of wheel routes, maybe try to shove a corner route into the sideline. I mean, if you take a look at the plays here, it's got PA scissors, it's got mesh spot, PA boot for a corner route. Like it's pretty rudimentary in what it actually does. You're going to get a lot of wheels, a lot of corners. That's the same as anything else, but it's a way less high octane passing formation. You just have to show that you can stop the RPO. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. This is a deep dive, kind of a little bit of a morsel that's going to help you guys understand how we think over on Gridiron. As I mentioned, you guys can unlock everything on the website for $9.95. Go over there and check it out, especially if you guys want to play some effective match coverage, be able to shut down the most popular offensive metas, whether it's bunch or tight or trips. We got something for everybody over there. And right here, we got this most common RPO defense, shut down, not going to give up too many yards with this. And most importantly, you're going to be able to shut down their goal line approach, hold them to 3, stop them from milking a game out. It's all very valuable. So make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, drop a comment below. We'll see you guys on Monday with our next video upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.